What's up, everybody? It's Robert coming to you with Sidestep Adventures. I'm out here joined by my friend and historian Dan Aiken. And the other day you saw us looking down the old dirt roads and into hills for the Terry Church Cemetery on the mountain, and we couldn't find it, but we think we've located it this time. And so we're walking through the woods and we'll see if we can find it.
We had to get permission to cross some property to get to the old cemetery. And this landowner here told us the general area, so we're going to see if we can locate it.
I've got a good feeling about it this time, and we've got to cross, what is it, about 400 acres?
I believe so.
So this should be fun. So we were just talking about, right before I started rolling the cameras, the old roadbed that cuts off through there, up, going up on top of the mountain. Because we're in the heart of the woods of Rough Edge right now.
I believe I see the front steps of the church.
Sir?
I believe I see what was front steps of a church building.
Oh, yeah. I see it. Sure enough.
Yep. So the building had two front doors. When I was in about second grade, I believe, about 1971 to 72, I remember coming up here with my daddy, and we drove back in here looking for the cemetery, and this big church was here. It was a tall building, real tall, with a very steep roof, and it did not have any paint on it. It was very weathered. It was still standing though. I mean, there was no window sash. They were all gone, but it was just a big shell of an old church, and the biggest wasp nests that I have ever seen in my life, maybe wasp or yellow jackets or hornets, were all over it. They were inside, they were on the outside, but we came up here in the wintertime, and I remember him taking a stick and knocking one down for me, and it was this big. And I put that thing in a trash bag and took it to school the next day. And I remember the school had it on display for a long time. That's one of my memories of coming up here. But I haven't been here since then.
So Dan, something that I asked you before I was recording and said I was going to ask you again was, this church is deep in the woods and why it would be so far off of the road. But as you pointed out there, and I just said right when I started recording before you saw this, there's an old roadbed running up there. So
there is an old roadbed, and that was probably one of the roads that passed through here, going and connecting over to the Rough Edge Road that went on down to Woodland and further south to Talbot. Back over this way, west of here, is the town of Shiloh. And I think this attests to the fact that of how big the population was back here then. This was an African-American church, and it was, from what I've heard over the years, it was predominantly members of the Terry and Mahone, and I can't remember the other families, maybe got some Ingrams. They were all old families that lived up in this area, and this was their church. And it was called Macedonia Baptist Church. I don't know anything about when it started, but I do know that it has not functioned in my lifetime. I remember being at Mrs. Hawkins' house below here visiting on Sunday and seeing people pass by, and it would be a nice car on Sunday afternoon with a bunch of people in it with their Sunday clothes on, coming up here, and I would say, where are they going? And Ms. Hawkins would say, oh, they're going up to visit the cemetery at the old church. And so as late as 1976 or 77, there were still people visiting the cemetery here. But right now, I don't see any evidence of a cemetery.
I do.
Do you?
That's right back up that way, right straight through there.
Okay.
I see some headstones.
Oh, okay.
Over there.
I see some old-fashioned lilies of some sort, flower.
Yeah, I see those too. So we'll go over there in just a moment.
Yeah. Kind of wonder what that was there for, right in the center of these two steps.
There's actually still some wood left from the church. And this is it. That's all that's left.
I can feel this. Yeah, it's gonna fall through the floor of this old church.
Right.
It's actually, the roof and all, I believe, is still underneath the pine straw.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, there's the shingles.
Yep.
And then the floor of the church is underneath that.
Yeah.
And that's an old stove flue. So here's the back corner of the church.
Yeah, the back corner, you can see it. We kind of draw it out for y'all at home. It goes this way, comes back here, and then goes in and sticks out back there. And like Dan just said, it's a very large building.
It looks like it might have been maybe 15 feet by 48 feet. That's about 15 feet across here.
Yeah. And there's the steps right up there.
Another thing I remember being here was the outhouse, the privy.
Oh yeah.
I remember there was a double privy here for church members to use the restroom. And it seems like it was out that way.
There's the back wall of the church, or part of the roof, more likely.
That's not the corner. This is the corner, and that's the corner over there. It's more like what, 20 or 25 feet wide.
Yeah. Yeah, that must have just been extra supports right there in the center. Center support. Yeah, so there's another center support. So those are just, yeah, like Dan said, there's the actual corner out here. And actually, if you, I don't know, it probably won't show up well on video. Let me see if I can get a good angle of it. But the remains of the church have such a little hill, almost looks like a terrace, going up to where the foundation of the church would have been, and that's all the roof and
the pillars have turned over.
Yeah,
built out of rock. They're still stacked, but they fell from up there.
You can see the footprint of the church still all the way. It's amazing.
And what else is amazing is that on the county tax records, this is still 2 acres unto itself.
Yeah.
Still in the name of Macedonia Baptist Church.
Right. All right, so the church ruins are right there. And if we turn around, up here's the cemetery. I already see some headstones up there, and we know that this cemetery is not on Find a Grave. Somebody did create a Find a Grave listing for this cemetery, but they only made it using death certificates that listed burials being at the Macedonia cemetery. So now we're actually going to be able to see the graves, and I think that this is going to be a pretty large cemetery. I see what looks like a military grave right there, a row of fieldstone graves back there, and more over here. So where do you want to jump in at?
It's right up through here.
All right.
Start with that military headstone.
Yeah. Now, look at this. Somebody's come through here, driven through here, and there's a grave right there.
Yeah.
It's been run over.
Sure is. Looks like they came up here and cut down a cedar tree.
Yeah. Well, this is a Terry. This is Sam Terry, Georgia, private first class, 863 Port Company, TC. I can never remember what TC stands for. World War II. Was born January 17th, 1912, and died February 27th, 1949. Sam Terry.
You know, sadly, someone shot that.
Sure enough, that is terrible. Just come up here and shoot of all things too, a veteran's grave. This right here is Minnie Kate Terry, born February 16th, 1919, died March 11th, 1972. Burials in 72 here. And that's about the time you said you saw people coming up here.
It was long about that time. Of course, she said they came up here to visit graves, visit their family.
All right, there's a fieldstone marking a grave there. And we've got two small headstones here. Are those marked?
They are.
Oh wow, this is kind too. So this was some kind of local stone maker. It must have been. I've seen this exact style of stone in the Mahone Ingram Cemetery. Mm-hmm. And what's the one that's just outside of Waverly Hall where they buried the Union soldiers at?
St. John.
St. John. That's the exact same style. So at the top it says Ivy and Mr. Emmanuel Terry. February 8th. He died February 20th. I gotta dig down. There you go. February 8th, 1921. No. February 20th, 1960. And take pictures of that one too. And then there's another one. That one is going to take some excavating. But let's look at this one first. This is another veteran here. This is Thomas Terry, Georgia, private first class, U.S. Army, World War I. He was born December 6th, 1893, and died June 24th, 1970. So we've got another one that's this style. Again, the same that I've seen in several local African American cemeteries, which is interesting to me. Again, at the top it says Ivy in quotation marks. This one's obviously going to be really hard to get to because of this pine tree growing right here, but we're gonna do our best. Borrow that. I don't think I might have to get that in there. All right, so this is Elder Sylvester Terry. I can't get down to the birth and death dates down there. I don't think I'll be able to, but yeah, that's gonna be, have to cut that tree down to get down there. The flower bed right here. As Dan pointed out, a big old dead tree right there. And there's more graves right there in this massive old cedar tree right there. I think this is one here, Dan. See the indentation.
Looks like there's a skeleton grave over here.
Yeah, sure enough. Oh, look at this one. The fieldstone headstone and large indentation. So this is something else that we see quite frequently, is where a concrete slab was poured and then someone took a stick or their finger or something and actually wrote the name on it. And Dan, can you make out?
I believe it says
Sophia?
I want to say it said Josiah, but it is J.
Okay. Yeah, J.
But that's a A.
F-I-A. Or is that? You probably have it better.
Or it almost looks like A-L-I-A. I don't know what the first letter is. It's T, maybe.
Mahone.
Yeah. Talia F. Mahone. Born. I don't know what that is. Born something the 20th, 1851. Died something the 26th, 1939. So that lady or gentleman, whoever it was born into slavery time.
Yeah.
It almost looks like it says Taffia, T-A-F-I-A.
Yeah.
Here's what you think.
Yeah, that is a hard one. I'm not sure.
Or Lalia, L-A-L-I-A. I don't know.
And so here's an amazing sight. First of all, there's the grave we were just looking at. Right behind, there's one right there that's marked with field stones. Then it looks like there's an indentation to the side right there. So there's 1, 2, 3. Got a grave right here. 4. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in this row. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 at least in this row, and then there's more back there.
This is really something. That's in the ground deep to stand here as long as it stood. And these people had nothing when they were alive. And when they died, this was the best that their family could do. And you got to wonder how long it took them to scour the mountainside to find a certain rock that they felt was suitable to stand at the head and foot of these graves. And they had to haul that here, dig a hole, and put it into the ground standing up. That took time, and I'm sure it was done with love. But it's just really, it's spooky how they're standing out here in the woods.
It is.
Just standing watch over the graves, along with that dead cedar tree.
It is amazing. I mean, we've seen a lot of fieldstone graves, but a lot of them are just small fieldstones like that one right there. But the size of these are actually, you know, monument sized. Naturally occurring rocks it's impressive. Dan, I've got to take you back over to the Samantha Street Cemetery, because I looked at a fieldstone that's in that cemetery that's actually engraved with something on it. It's a symbol that's on it. It's pretty fascinating. So I'd like to check these fieldstones to see if there's anything actually engraved on them. We occasionally see something. This is actually the footstone for that grave, I believe. Yeah, this is the footstone for that grave, because there's another one behind it. This is the headstone over here.
Realize that someone came in here and cut those big cedar trees over there.
Sir?
But I just realized that someone came in here and cut those big cedars. You see the stump?
I do, yeah.
You see the stump for that one?
I do.
They cut them and they fell that way. That one fell across that way.
And that one was allowed to fall on graves.
Mm-hmm. You want to stand at the base of that tree and I'll get an idea of how big that tree is. It gives an idea of how big that cedar tree is.
Yeah. How old would you say that is, Dan?
That type of cedar tree is a slow grower. They usually grow to that size and then stop. There's one in Waverly Hall that we know was planted in 1886 next to the old railroad house.
Yeah.
And it's not nearly as big as that one.
Wow.
So I would say it's, I don't know, probably at least 150 years old. And who knows how long it's been dead, because they're cedar. They don't rot fast. That tree could have been dead.
It's alive.
40 years.
Look in the very top. It's still got some green in the very, very top.
Well, it does.
It's still trying to hang on.
How far up the mountain does the cemetery go?
It goes a little ways. The other thing is, again, this bothers me. We've got more graves in here. Actually, a lot more graves in there. We're gonna go ahead and walk up this way first. But you can see, as Dan was pointing out, this tree was cut and allowed to drop on this cemetery here, which is quite a tragedy, especially since this cemetery does still belong to a church. Hey, Dan, there's a slab right here.
Right over that. I'm gonna see it. Mrs. Annie A.C. double E.
Yeah, okay, I see that now. Mrs. Annie A.C. A.C.E.E. Died June 1932. That's another having a scattering of field stones out here. This is definitely, oh yeah, a lot more graves here. My goodness. There's here and there, and there. Oh, there. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12, 13. That's, I don't know if these, yeah, 14. I'm not sure about that one. That's definitely buried in the ground.
Look at this. That rock was selected as a headstone for its shape.
Yeah.
That comes up to a point and down small around the base.
There's one.
Smell that.
Mm-hmm.
There's red cedar.
There's more over here, Dan. Right along this drop off. I just stepped on someone's stone. You see there? There's one. There's one maybe.
I believe this may be one of the largest burial sites around here.
Yeah. There's one. There's one. There's one. That's a neat fieldstone marker right there. Look at this one too, Dan. It's almost got the shape.
Yeah.
Go back in here. Again towards this wash. Down here you've got another one right here. There. And there. And this one actually has an artifact. I've talked about this before, but anytime you find something like this in a cemetery, you know, always want to leave that there. Even if your intentions to come in and clean it up are good, those are artifacts that belong in the cemetery. So this is the area I was talking about where the tree was cut and it has collapsed on top of graves. You see we've got fieldstone here at the base of this cedar tree and there, and there's no telling what this cedar tree has fallen on. Because we have graves all over the place out here. There's a fieldstone, headstone. Another cut cedar tree. It was felled right here.
My question is, whoever cut the cedar tree up left all the wood here.
Yeah.
Wonder why. They cut it up into sections and blocks.
There's a grave. There's a child's grave right there. Underneath the cedar tree, there's a grave. It's another one of those large field stones we saw there and there. It was definitely cut a long time ago.
Yeah.
There's graves all throughout there under this broken bits of cedar tree.
You remember the cedars at the old Crawford place?
Yeah.
I know they were dead in 1974.
Yeah.
I was there, 75 or whatever year it was. They're still there.
Mm-hmm.
Just as they were when I was a small child.
Right.
So they do not rot.
Mm-mm. There's more here. Another field stone back there, marking a grave. There's one there. And I think this is the same one, either a headstone, footstone, maybe. Hard to say, so that's a footstone for one or headstone for this one. And I just stepped on one right here.
I can't remember the name of this old-fashioned shrub, but it's found around a lot of old home places and cemeteries. I believe it has, there's one that has little white blooms called baby's breath. And then there's another one that has yellow blooms, and I think this may be the one that has the yellow blooms in the spring.
Oh, there's another marked one. Alf Harvey, born July 17th, 1887, and died November 3rd, 1975.
I wonder if that got knocked off of that slab by that cedar tree.
Oh yeah, I see.
There's a slab right over here.
So we think that Alf Harvey's headstone actually belongs on that slab right there. And probably when the cedar came down, it knocked it off of there.
Snake hoe
Oh yeah.
just became a snake stick.
Yeah. That's right. Dan's anti-snake hoe. That served us on a couple adventures, Dan.
It has. It's served me on lots of adventures, but it's been a good one. It's just, it was its time.
So this is, I think that those cedar trees were cut. They were cut a while back, except for right there. That's a fresh cut. See the difference in that color versus that. So that was cut somewhat recently, and someone did come in here and drop these pine trees recently. You can actually see tire tracks where someone just drove right up in here. Yep. There it is.
Old slab covered with. There you go.
Yeah, so someone came in here cutting not that long ago and threw them on top of this slab, which is pretty terrible. Of course, I may be setting them on an unmarked grave right here. Mm-hmm. Another Terry. Got the grave of Cora Terry. She was born in 1891 and died November 26, 1925, age 34.
That's an unusually long slab.
Yeah, it is.
It's over 8 feet long.
I think it's up there. There's another marked one. Walking back through behind the large cedar tree that's living. Got more field stones, of course, through here. But we've got another marked one right here that's under some cedar tree. Actually, I shouldn't have handed that back to you just yet. So I shouldn't have taken it back. This is 1970. It's Emmett. Yeah, there we go. Emmett M. Terry. Born September 7th, 1889. Died February 5th, 1970. Emmett M. Terry.
There's another one over there that's marked.
Sure enough. Right here too. There it is.
How many of your viewers are going to remind you didn't bring a broom? Or going to reprimand you that you didn't bring a broom?
Yeah. I was thinking about that. I was. Ellen. Terry.
What's that? E-L-I-O-N? E-L-L.
E-L-L.
Oh, it's a small E.
Yeah.
I see. Ellen.
Ellen, then T. Wait.
Mm-hmm.
It is Terry, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Ellen Terry. Born.
It says Doc.
Oh, it says Doc. Yeah. Huh. D-O-C-K.
And Terry.
Doc Terry. Ellen Terry and Doc Terry, I guess. Maybe two.
Yeah.
Two graves. Wife, I think.
Doc Terry's wife.
Doc Terry's wife. Okay.
I don't think there's any date.
Nothing else. Ellen Terry, Doc Terry's wife. I wonder if this is Doc Terry, that field stone, or if this is Doc Terry.
And that's another unusually long slab. You just covered up your flashlight over there. Right there.
Good call, Dan, because I sure would have been looking for it. Yeah. This is Doc Terry here. It says something at the top.
Age. What does that say?
Age.
No.
89. Doc Terry. Died December. Wow. Wow, he was
Yeah, he died in December of 1916.
and he was 89, right?
Does that say? It does say age 89.
Yeah, age 89. So it's 1916, 1827. He was born in 1827, so he was born when before this county was founded. This county started being settled in 1826, correct?
Then that's right. He would have been one of the enslaved people that made the trip here with the Terry family when they came to this county.
Yes.
When they came to Harris County, which is just over that mountain right there.
Yeah, the Terry Plantation. And I've done a video on the Terry Plantation, Terryville, with a descendant. So I'm really excited to tell him about this place.
That most likely was one of the founders of this church.
When Mr. Culpepper and I went to the Terryville plantation, we visited the enslaved Terry cemetery, and then we visited the Terry family cemetery up there. And he said that one of the Terrys, and I forget who the name is, but was the Terry that came out and gathered all the slaves at the time around and told them that they were now free after the war. So Doc Terry would no doubt have been one of those that was gathered around and told he was free then. That's an amazing grave right there.
I bet that cedar tree was planted at the head of someone's grave at one time.
Yeah, sure enough. There's fieldstone there. There's buried fieldstone there, and there's some more in there. It's hard to say, and you can see that one's kind of mounded too.
Yeah.
Dan, you were just talking off camera about that grave.
This grave here is still mounded, and that grave over there next to it is mounded also. So that tells me that these two graves right here of these people were either put in a very nice heavy-duty casket, either out of a cedar maybe, or a very thick metal, or their graves were lined with brick. They could have been built, they could have had vaults built out of brick underneath the ground. Graves of that age, well, even a grave nowadays, if you let rain, and after a couple of rains and the dirt settles, you have to go back later and add dirt to it, even with the use of a vault. But those graves out here, having been here all these years and still mounded like that, is very unusual. When all the rest of them have sunk because what was down there has deteriorated. The casket has decomposed, and any wooden box that was built around the casket has decomposed over the years and caused these graves to settle the way they have. But I don't see any others out here built up like that.
Oh yeah, little prickly pear cactus. There's a lot of that grows down in the coastal plain in Marion County, Taylor County.
It does, but it doesn't usually grow up here in the hills of northern Talbot County.
No, it doesn't. Probably planted here?
It was probably planted here on somebody's grave. People would bring whatever shrubs or plants or whatever they could get to bring to the cemetery to spruce the place up. And being that there was a church here, this cemetery looks like it was probably a little bit better kept than some of the traditional family cemeteries out in the woods, because the tradition with a lot of those was once the burial took place, a lot of families didn't go back. They left their grief at the cemetery and did not go back and visit graves. But this one, because there's flower pots and so forth out here, then there were a lot of people that continued to come up here to visit. And as I said earlier, I remember the cars coming up up the road, coming up this way, and I knew there was nothing up here, and nothing but mud holes and ruts in the road. And we knew that there was people coming up here to visit their loved ones in the cemetery. But I believe it's been a long time since anyone visited here now, though.
Yeah, definitely. Another slab? Sure enough. Stone right there. I hit it with the light. I'm not sure there's anything on this one. Unless I'm not that high
I think
enough.
it goes way up there.
Yeah. That's writing on it.
Yeah. You know, some of the more modern day Terrys, members of the Terry family, were brick masons, block masons. And I don't know what their grandparents did back, you know, in the early 1900s or 1920s, but they could have been brick masons as well. Somebody had to make all these concrete slabs.
Well, it could have been a Terry that was going around making those.
It could have been.
Dan, right?
Uh-huh.
Terry?
Dan Terry.
Dan Terry. Born
1863.
1863. So he was no doubt born on the Terry plantation.
Mm-hmm.
9th September. There it is. 19. There's a hot one. There's the first date. September 19th. Nope. 18. Okay. Is that, can you read that down? I think it's 18.
Is there nothing else written up there, like a number? September. I think that's 1890. Looks like 1891.
That's what I think, and there should be, there's something.
It may just be September 1891, unless there's a number up there. a date.
I feel like there's a line
Yeah,
right there,
yeah.
but I can't. That's the concrete's coming apart right there. Hmm.
I believe it was 1891.
Dan Terry, born 1863, died 1891.
I wonder if this was put here first and then the slab was put here later.
That's what I would think. Dan, by your rough estimate, how many graves would you say are in here?
I think there's at least 250, if not more. Just from what we can see of the headstones,
Yeah.
footstones, just guessing. It continues to go up the hill and it goes all the way out to that old road bed.
Yep.
Right out to the edge of the road bed. And it's what? A good 50 yards over there to the road bed from
Yeah.
here.
So the roadbed is way back there. I don't think we went this way. I don't know if that's... Oh, what do you think this was, Dan? Yeah, because look at this. Oh, Dan, this is...
Oh, look at this. There's a rock wall from that tree. Well, from the other side of that tree, there's a rock wall right up through here.
Sure enough.
Not really a wall, but rocks
Yeah.
lined up like old folks used to do around their flower beds.
Right.
That has mortar on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, look at that one has mortar on it.
It does look like a foundation.
Yeah, I think there's mortar on these too.
That's the back corner, and then there's the one in the center there.
Yep.
It's almost like it was a foundation for a little building. A schoolhouse, maybe?
Oh yeah, brick.
Well, around every old church, there was a well.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that was a covered up well. Unless they hauled water in here to drink on Sundays. I don't know, this is a mystery over what this is. There's a corner here,
Yeah.
and then there's a pier in the middle, and then another pier down there on that end. As if it's I wonder if it might have been just a little one-room schoolhouse, maybe.
And again, here's the old roadbed, which more or less seems to kind of stop right up there. So this may have been, would you say that this was probably the trail to the church?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
This roadbed looks like it stops up there. It looks like
I think it stops right there. That's just a ravine between the mountains.
Yeah.
But this looks like a roadbed here.
So maybe this was the original trail to the church?
Could have been. And this right here is sort of a terrace here.
Yeah.
But there's two ruts right here. Down through here.
Yeah, I see that.
There and there. And then this wall right here. It's certainly a foundation because that pillar has turned over.
Yeah.
If you stack those rocks back up, it would bring it up level with the one back there. And I believe this may have been a front stoop right here. See this little area that comes out?
Yeah.
Like maybe there may have been some steps here one time, or a rock just to step up on to get into the door. I'm not sure why that rock wall was laid over there though.
And there's some flowers growing in there. Maybe it was a little garden or flower bed.
There was a little flower bed over there one time.
All right, everybody, what started a couple days ago with us looking like it was a lost cause, we weren't going to be able to find the Terry Church on the mountain. We found it, and the cemetery, and it's an incredible, incredible place. I'm definitely glad to come out here with you, Dan, and to rediscover this place.
Well, it's been a pleasure to come, and I appreciate you inviting me along for the ride.
Oh, absolutely.
It's really something back in here. It's quiet and peaceful, and it's been so long since I've been back in here, I'd forgotten what it was like.
Yeah, it is. And I was going to say that earlier, that it was just deafeningly quiet almost.
Mm-hmm.
But hope you guys have enjoyed seeing this place. Remarkable, remarkable history here. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.